Good morning again, Mr. DCS is back. So we're continuing our lesson on properties of parallelograms and quadrilaterals. We're going to mainly focus on parallelograms, which are rectangles, squares, diamonds. So properties of parallelogram. Remember that a parallelogram is a four-sided polygon where both pair of opposite sides are parallel. We're going to focus on properties of parallelograms. So today, since parallelogram is considered a quadrilateral, a quad, four-sided polygon, so the sum of the interior angle will always equal to 360. In this case, we have a quad, four-sided polygon. We have angle 1, angle 2, angle 3, and angle 4. So if you add measure of angle 1 plus measure of angle 2 plus measure of angle 2 plus measure of angle 3 plus measure of angle 4, the four interior angle will always add up to 360. So that's what we focus on. So if you have a quad, so the sum of the interior angle will always add up to 360. If you don't know that directly, you can always use the triangle sum theorem, which is that says 180 times n minus 2. In this case, n is equal to 4 because you are four-sided. You will have 180 times 4 minus 2. All right. In this case, you will have 180. 4 minus 2 is 2. 2 times 180 is 360. This work for any polygon is called the sum of the interior angle of a polygon is 180 times n minus 2. So now the definition of a parallelogram, we said earlier that both pair of opposite sides are parallel. That definition of a parallelogram. However, it's a parallelogram, there are certain properties that are shown. So this work for square, right? Your parallelogram are square. Rectangle and diamond/rhombus. Those properties will be worked for those shapes. Those are your parallelograms. So it will be true for any one of those guys. So those are figures that we are focused on. So one of the first properties is that if you have a parallelogram that opposite sides are congruent, both opposite sides are congruent. In this case, BC will be congruent to AD. That's one property of parallelogram. And AB will be congruent to DC. So if a quadrilateral is a parallelogram, then opposite sides are congruent. If a quadrilateral is a parallelogram, then its opposite sides are congruent. That's one property of parallelogram that will all show. So BC will always congruent to AB, and AB will always be congruent to DC as long as a parallelogram. That's one of the first properties we are going to explore. Another property that we are going to explore that if a parallelogram, in a parallelogram, that opposite angle are congruent. If a quadrilateral is a parallelogram, then opposite sides are congruent. In this case, angle A will be congruent to angle C. Angle B will be congruent to angle D. Opposite side, opposite angle are congruent. Alright? One property is opposite side are congruent. Another property is opposite angle are congruent in the parallelogram. So that's another properties. So the first property is in the parallelogram that opposite sides are congruent. Both opposite sides are congruent. The second property is that both pair of opposite angle are congruent. Meaning that angle A is opposite to angle C, they will have the same value. Angle B is opposite to angle D, they will have the same value. This is what it's telling you. Angle C and angle B is congruent. Angle A and angle D are congruent. If that holds true, as long as it's a parallelogram, that will work. Another properties of a parallelogram, that consecutive angle. This angle, angle A, plus angle D will be supplementary, or angle A plus angle B will be supplementary, consecutive, one angle after the other, or angle B plus angle C will be congruent. They will be supplementary, not congruent, they will be supplementary. Angle C plus angle D will be supplementary. Angle D plus angle A will be supplementary. Those are consecutive. So they will be add up to 180. Consecutive angle are supplementary in a parallelogram. Another property is that of a parallelogram, in a parallelogram, diagonal bisect each other, meaning that AC diagonal are non-consecutive vertices, and BD will bisect. They will bisect each other, meaning that where they meet will be the midpoint, meaning that EC will be congruent to EA and BE will be congruent to DE. Diagonal bisect each other. In a parallelogram, diagonal bisect each other. So these are the properties of parallelogram. So let's recap again. Definition of a parallelogram, that both pair of opposite sides are parallel. Both pair of opposite sides are parallel. That definition of a parallelogram. The first property, that in a parallelogram, if a quadrilateral is a parallelogram, opposite sides will congruent. Opposite sides are congruent. Both pair of opposite sides are congruent. That a property. So if a property in a quadrilateral, if a quadrilateral is a parallelogram, then opposite angle are congruent. Angle C is congruent to angle B. Angle A is congruent to angle D. They will have the same value. Congruent means equal. Opposite, the angle that facing each other, they will have the same value. Angle A is opposite to angle D. They are congruent. Another property, if a quadrilateral is a parallelogram, diagonal bisect each other. Diagonal bisect each other. So they're gonna bisect. The way they meet is the midpoint, halfway. So other property is that consecutive angle are supplementary. If I take angle C plus angle D, they will add up to 180. Supplementary means 180. If I add angle D plus angle B, they will add up to 180. Angle B plus angle A is add up to 180. And angle A plus angle C is add up to 180. Alright, and the other property, since a parallelogram is a quadrilateral, the sum of the triangle is always equal to 360 degrees. Now the only thing we have to do is to do some application. Let's say this is back. Property of special parallelogram. So your special parallelogram, a square, rectangle, a rhombus, or you can call a rhombus a diamond also. So we call, in properties of parallelogram, we know a square. A square has four congruent angles and four congruent sides. A square is said to be equiangular and equilateral. A square is equiangular and equilateral. So for a rectangle, it has four right angles, and also diagonal bisect each other, and diagonal are congruent. Diagonal for square are congruent. And for a rhombus has four congruent sides. Four congruent sides. A rhombus is equilateral. A rhombus is equilateral. Right? Rhombus is equilateral. Congruent side. And the diagonal are perpendicular. The diagonal of a rhombus are perpendicular. So we will call properties of parallelogram. If it's a parallelogram, opposite sides are congruent. The sides that are opposite to each other will be equal to each other. Opposite angles are congruent in a parallelogram. Diagonal bisect each other. Consecutive angles are supplementary. Now the only thing that we really need to do is to do some application. So let's get busy, guys. Let's do some work. So once you remember those properties, remember them inside out. There's no, every problem will be easy to do. So now there are three distinctions you have to make when you're dealing with properties of parallelograms. You have to make the distinction when you're dealing with angles. Angles are usually inside. Angles are inside, interior. You have to know side, outside, and diagonal are non-consecutive vertices. You have to make the distinction between those three things. Those are the main properties that parallelogram deal with. So let's start and get busy. So you have a parallelogram. This is the shape of the parallelogram. And you have 2m, and this is n, and it's 7. This is a parallelogram, and you are solving for the variable. So in this case, I know that m, 2m, and angle C are opposite to each other. They are equal to each other. Therefore, I can say that measure of angle A is congruent to measure of angle C because they are opposite angle. Opposite angle are congruent. So I'm dealing with angle in this case. This is the property you are using to solve this problem. In this case, you will have 2m is equal to 70. Now, in order to find m, I will have to divide by 2. Then in this case, m will be 35 degrees. Right. Since my shape is that, this is 70 and this is m, and that was 2m. I know this angle is equal to this angle because they are opposite. That's how I find my equation. Now, the other thing I will have to do is to solve for n. Now, in order to find n, I know this angle and that angle are consecutive. So, consecutive angle are supplementary. So, my equation will be n plus 70 is equal to 180. Consecutive angle are supplementary. And this is the property I'm using, consecutive angle. Consecutive angle are supplementary. They will add up to 180. So once you know the properties, you will know how to write your equation. Then you will have to subtract 70 from inside. Then you will find n is 110. This is 110 degrees. So if I add n is 110, this is 110. This will also be 110. I was the angular congruent, and this was 70. So the four angles together will always add up to 360. Then you're done with this problem. So those are the things that you need to pay attention with. So is know your properties and solve correctly. Alright? And busy. Properties. Learn your properties. Know when you're dealing with diagonal. Know when you're dealing with side. In this case, I have a problem that goes this way. And it's a parallelogram. I've been told it's a parallelogram. Then from me to there is a diagonal. Now I can see that I'm dealing with diagonal. So I will solve for the missing part. Alright. And this is k plus 4. I'm solving for the variable. And is 11. And I have 2f minus 5, and I have 5f minus 17. I need to solve for the variable. Since I know I'm dealing with diagonal, and I know diagonal bisects, so that this will be equal to that, and this will be equal to that. Alright, that's how I will know how to solve that. My equation will be k plus plus 4 is equal to 11. That will give me k. And the other equation will be 2f minus 5 is equal to 5f minus 17. That will be my two equations. This is diagonal. Diagonal bisect each other in the parallelogram. Since I know I'm dealing with the parallelogram, I know that's the property that I have to use. In this case, I have to subtract 4 on this side. Then I will have k is equal to 7. I'm done with that. Now, 2f minus 5 is equal to 5f minus 17. I'm going to subtract 2f on this side. I will have minus 5 is equal to 3f minus 17. Now, since I'm solving for f, I can add 17 to each side. Alright, then I will have 12 is equal to 3f. In order to find f, I will have to divide by 3. In this case, f is equal to 4. Then I'm done with that problem. So, this is the properties that I'm using. In this case, I was using properties of a parallelogram. Next problem, I am giving a rectangle, and I have been told that's a rectangle, and I need to solve for it. And the rectangle is called that. Give me so many information. Tell me this is 8x minus 13, and this is 7x plus 11, and also I have y plus 40, and I have 2y minus 10 here. Then I have been told to solve for the missing information, and I was told it was a rectangle, very important. Now, since a rectangle is considered as a parallelogram, I know that this side must be equal to that side, that the first property that I'm going to use. Since I know in the rectangle that has 4 right angles, I know those are right angles. So those are the properties I'm going to use. So let me solve for x. My equation will be 8x minus 13 is equal to 7x at plus 11 that will give me x. So I'm going to solve for x. I'm going to subtract 7x from each side. Then I will have x minus 13 is equal to 11. So in this case, I will have to add 13. In this case, x is 24. That's one way to solve. If you want to replace that, you will have to multiply 7 times 24 plus 11, then you will find the length. Or 8 times 24 minus 13. Now, this problem, I have many ways I can solve that. I'll show you that's how powerful math. Since I know this is the right angle, I can solve it as y plus 40 is equal to 50 is equal to 90. Excuse me, is equal to 90 because it's a right angle. That's really easy to solve for that. Subtract 40 from each side. Then I will find y is 50 degrees. That's one way. Or I could have solved it 2y minus 10 is equal to 90. You should be able to get this same solution. Add 10 to each side. Then now you will have 2y is equal to 100. Divide by 2. Y will have been equal to 50. You get the same answer. Since both of them are right angle, I could have solved them as y plus 40 is equal to y minus 10. You have so many options. In this case, you could have subtract y from inside. Then you will have 40 is equal to y minus 10 and add 10 from each side. They give you too much option. I will give you this. The other option, I could have used consecutive and triangle. I could have add all of them that is equal to 180. In this case, I will have this y plus 40 plus 2y minus 10 is equal to 180. Consecutive and plus supplementary. In this case, we'll have 3y. Right? That will give you plus 30 is equal to 180 minus 30. You'll have 3y is equal to 150 divided by 3. Either way, you will find y is equal to 50. In this element will give you a vast option. They're telling you angle A is B minus 10 and angle D is B plus 10, and this is D and this is C. You need to find all of the missing variable. As I can see, it's easier for me to solve for B. So since it's a parallelogram, I'm going to use consecutive angular supplementary. So the measure of angle A plus measure of angle D will be equal to 180. That consecutive angular supplementary. In this case, I will have B minus 10 plus B plus 10 is equal to 180. So the 10 cancel with the 10, I will have 2B is equal to 180 divided by 2. In this case, B is 90 degrees. So I only find B. Now I need to find measure of angle A. Measure of angle A will be 90 minus 10. Measure of angle A will be 80 degrees. Right? Measure of angle D will be 90 plus 10. Measure of angle D will be 100 degrees. So since opposite angle are congruent, angle B will also be 100. Angle B will be 100 degrees. Right? And angle A is opposite to angle C. Therefore, measure of angle C will be 80 degrees. So, as you can see, if you add the four angles, it must be added to 360 degrees. So, that's how we end up with that lesson. It was a good pleasure doing those papers with you. That was Mr. DC's. Have a good day. Mr. DC's is back. So you have a parallelogram where you have to solve for this variable. So we have so many variables in here we have to solve for. This is a parallelogram. So let's see if we can solve that. Let's solve for Z. Since this is a parallelogram, Lm is congruent to Kn. Ln is congruent to Kn because the opposite side are congruent, and Lk is congruent to Mn. Opposite side are congruent. So we can solve for this variable. You will end up with, let's solve for Z, you will have 2Z plus 1 is equal to 4Z minus 5. In this case, you're going to subtract 2Z from inside. You will have 1 is equal to 2Z minus 5, and add 5 to each side. You will have 2Z is equal to 6 divided by 2. In this case, z is equal to 3. So we're done with z. Now we can go find w. Since this you will have 4, w is equal to w plus 3. Opposite side are congruent. Subtract w from inside. Alright. Then you will have 3, w is equal to 3. If I move side by 3, in this case w is equal to 1. If you want to check it, you will see it 4 times 1. This side is 4, and 1 plus 3. This side will also be 4. Since this was 3, that will be 3 times 4 is 12. 12 minus 5 is 7. This side is 7. This will be 2 times 3 is 6. 6 plus 1 is 7. As you can see, they have to be equal 7. That's equal to 7. So in this case, we find this side. Now we need to find the angle. In order to find the angle, we have to use the opposite. We have so many angles. Let's see which angle is easier to solve for. It would be easier to solve for T. So we'll say angle T. Angle T is congruent to angle M, because opposite angle are congruent in a parallelogram. So we'll have 3T minus 15 is equal to T plus 10. And in order to solve for T, you subtract 2T from each side. Then you'll have T minus 15 is equal to 10. Add 15 to each side. In this case, T is 25 degrees. Now once you find T, you can come and replace it here. That will be 2 times 25 is 50. 50 plus 10 is 60. This angle is 60 degrees. Now I can find S because those two angles are supplementary. So I will have 3S plus 60 is equal to 180. That will give me S. So I will have to subtract 60 from each side. Then I will have 3S is equal to 120. I divide by 3. In this case, S is equal to 40 degrees. S will be 40 degrees. C was 25 degrees. S is 40 degrees. I need to find R. Then I can use those two angles also. Let it go to 180. That will be 4R plus 60 is equal to 180. Consecutive angles are supplementary. Subtract 60 from each side. Then I will have 4 is equal to 120 divided by 4. In this case, R is 30 degrees. In this case, R is 30 degrees. In this case, this problem is done. We're done with that. That's a good day. We found all of the missing variables. So next problem. Then come and solve for opposite side are congruent. AB is congruent to DC. AB is congruent to DC. In this case, we'll have 2x plus 4 is equal to 8. Alright. And this side is equal to that. Then you'll have AD is congruent to CB. In this case, we'll have 3y is equal to 9. So divide by 3. In this case, y is 3. We find y. To solve for x, we subtract 4 on this side. We'll have 2x is equal to 4. Divide by 2. In this case, x is 2. We're done with that. Now we have to solve for u. Diagonal bisectors order. Right? Therefore, this is congruent to that. DE is going to be going to basically show there. Your equation will be 2u plus 2 is equal to 5u minus 10. In order to solve for u, you subtract 2u from this side, and you'll have 2 is equal to 3u minus 10, add 10 to each side. Then you will have 12 is equal to 3u divided by 3. In this case, u is equal to 4. Then we have done. It was Mr. This is Course Study. Do some work. Have a nice one.